Welcome to Antarctica, everybody. Our reception here is not that great, but we will do the best we can. Today we're going to be reviewing the thing Infection at Outpost 31. Now in this game, there are two objectives depending on who you are. If you are a human player, you're going to be trying to get people off of the island that are only humans through a helicopter. If you are an infected player, there are several different ways you can win the game. You're mainly going to be trying to get the human players to fail. So let's check it out. This is going to be more of an overview than a really detailed review because there's a lot of little rules in each of the sections of the book. So I'm just going to kind of show you how the game works. Anyway, you're going to go ahead and choose a character, and each character is going to have a different color, which just represents his different job, so to speak. You've got maintenance, you've got ops, you've got science, and things like that. And then each player is going to go ahead and get the token that goes along with that player and then place it over here in the rec room. Now, each player is also going to be drawing 5 supply cards to use. And in the beginning, each player is going to draw a blood sample card. Now, the blood sample cards are either going to say human, and one of them is going to be an infected person, which is going to be this one, the imitation human. They have been infected. So if you are playing as the human, your job is you're going to basically try to get all of these sections filled out and then try to escape into the helicopter. If you are playing as the imitation, you're going to try to get to these game over spaces on this board or try to escape onto the helicopter. The captain's going to have to choose people to get on there. And what you want to try to do is to try to convince them to take you with them. But if you're infected, that's going to end up winning the game for you. So anyway, whoever is infected is going to basically be having to play the game, but nobody's going to know who they are except for that person. And what everybody's going to be trying to figure out is, who are the infected people? Anyway, you've got supply cards over here, and these are going to have different things on here. It's going to have different weapons, and also it's going to give you dice numbers, and you're going to be able to use these dice numbers to fight the thing if you run into them. There's also going to be sabotage cards. Anytime one of these end up getting discovered, you're going to have to go ahead and resolve this card before you're able to get to the mission log, which I'll talk about later. But essentially, these are going to have weapons, dice, and then sabotages on there too. The mission log cards are going to have a mission, and I'll go ahead and just pick one here. And what it's going to do is going to tell you how many players are going to be on the team, and the captain is going to pick the team. And whoever is the captain is going to have this little gun thing. Let's just say it's Palmer over here. Each of the captains do have a special ability, so whoever is the captain will be able to use that ability. And you're going to roll for the highest number to see who is the original captain. Well, what it'll do is go ahead and tell you who how many people's on the team, how many of each job person should be there, meaning one of the maintenance people, and then it's also going to tell you what the mission is. This one says shuffle, then reveal a random card. If it's a petri dish, you pass. So that's the way it'll start. So the captain will go ahead and reveal that. The next thing that's going to happen is that you're going to go ahead and gather your team. In this case, it'll be a 3-player team, and the captain being Palmer. Palmer decides he's going to go ahead and use these 3 people. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and pick a room in section 1 to start. So let's just say we pick the common office. Now, there are certain cards that are also event cards, and I'll go ahead and show them to you. If you get the flamethrower card, you'll actually be able to torch a player. You can try to use it to do a blood test to see who could be the thing, or it can add 3 rolls to your die. If you end up getting smoke, you're going to have to go ahead and put this out. Otherwise, the room can end up getting destroyed. And if that happens, that's going to cause problems. What you can do is you can send somebody into the room with the smoke with a fire extinguisher. Dynamite is one you can use to add or subtract to a dice pit. You're going to need the rope for this. And what you can do is you can tie up the current captain. Also, power outages can be happen in rooms too. In order to resolve that, you're going to have to send somebody over there with a flashlight to fix it. So what's going to happen is everybody's going to go ahead and give the captain one of their cards. Now, if somebody has the petri dish, that would definitely be a huge help because that is going to help them pass. Here's one that has a petri dish. So let's just say one player gives the captain that. Here's another one. Here's Clark. Let's say he says, okay, I'll give you a petri dish as well. And then Benning's over here. Let's just say he doesn't have a petri dish, but let's just say he gives a flashlight over here. So now the captain's going to go ahead and look at the cards, and one of these cards is a sabotage card. So this says 2 people on the team each discard from their own hands a card with a minimum value of 2 dice or the investigation battle fails. So this is going to have to be resolved first since it was turned in. So what he'll do, the captain will do is he's going to go ahead and look at the rest of the cards. And what he can do is he can discard a card and draw a new card like so. And he got another sabotage card, so now he's going to have to resolve that too, which is a pain. But once he does that, let's say he ends up drawing the axe. So what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and shuffle these cards face down. And what he's hoping to do is draw the Petri dish. So let's just say he draws, and he draws the Petri dish. So because he drew the Petri dish, they have passed. So what's going to happen is now is they're going to go ahead and flip this over to reveal what it is. And this says discard. And what this means is that each player is going to go ahead and discard a card. Now, if they had failed the mission, what's going to happen is this is going to move up one. And there's also going to be a consequence here with this one that says there's smoke in the current room. So if they had failed this mission, they're going to go ahead and put smoke in there, and then they're going to have somebody resolve that. Now, there's other ones as well. Let's just see. There's a discard here. Let's see some of the, here's a rope here. This will give you access to the rope. And you're also going to need certain tools in order to be able to move to the next sectors. There's Sector 2, Sector 3, and the rope is one of them. Now, the rope has uses, as this card states, so you can tie people up with the rope and things like that. But ultimately, what the rope is going to do is whenever you can go ahead and put the rope there. And if you have defeated the thing, here's thing 1. Let's just say we were over here, we passed the test, and we ended up running into thing 1. What's going to happen in this case is each player is going to go ahead and go to their supply cards and turn in a card. But this time, they're going to be looking for dice rolls. So let's just say one person turns in the fire extinguisher that's got 1 dice. This has 1 dice. This has 1 dice. And this has 1 dice. And again, if someone turns in a sabotage card, once again, you're going to have to go ahead and resolve that first. If you fail to resolve the supply card, the mission is going to fail. And then you'll just do what I did with moving this up and so on and so forth. So anyway, what the captain's going to do is he's going to go ahead and pull these cards together. You'll go ahead and follow this. And this says 3 rolls to get a 3 of a kind. So it's similar to Yahtzee. So let's just say I've got 4 dice. I'm going to go ahead and roll. I got 2 6s here. And let's just say I ended up rolling another 6. I will have defeated the thing, which in this case would be this character, which would be over here. But I'm going to go ahead and put the thing character over here. So now this is going to open up Sector 2. So I'll be able to go in here. And then once again, I'm going to have to kind of repeat the process as I'm going through here. Take care of the sabotage cards. If I reveal anything, I'll be able to pick it up. If I reveal the thing, I'm going to have to fight it. Here's dynamite. That's something I'm going to need. There's another dynamite. So that's essentially how it's going to work. Anytime you fail a mission, again, you're going to be going up. And this one says room destroy room, current room 2. So if you end up destroying a room, you're going to go ahead and put a destroy token on there. And that's going to go ahead and move you up, and you're not going to be able to go into the room anymore. If you fail at defeating the thing, what you're going to do is you're going to take these tokens and shuffle them up, the ones that are remaining, and then you're going to just replace them into all of the rooms. Now, after you've gone ahead and done this, if you have sent another player out to take care of the smoke and they had an extinguisher, that player will discard that card, and that'll get rid of the smoke in this case. And then everybody will go up to the rec room, and we'll go ahead and draw the next mission card. Now, once you've filled in all of these sections and faced both the things and gotten all those things, you're going to be able to initiate an escape. What will happen is the current captain will go ahead and nominate a new captain who will then get onto the plane. Let's just say it was this guy. On the end of the game, depending on where the computer is on the tracker, you'll be able to check the results of the blood test of some of the players. If you're too far along the track, you're not going to be able to do any. So that will help you to determine who is infected and who is not. And then depending on the number of players that are in the game, he's going to pick that amount of players to go onto the helicopter with him. Now, it is possible for other people to get infected with this virus while you're playing the game. So anyway, what you'll do is, let's just say I had to pick 2 players to go, and I picked these 2. If one of them was infected, I would lose the game. If none of them were infected, I would end up winning the game. So essentially, guys, that is the thing, Outpost 31. Okay, so a little story. Back in college, I used to play a game called Mafia. This didn't require a board, it just required a lot of players. Ultimately, there'd be one player who would be in the Mafia, and then you would have somebody who also was the sheriff, and then everybody else would be citizens. And essentially, you're trying to figure out who the person is in the Mafia. So this game kind of reminds me of that. There's a lot of different characters in the game. The miniatures are nice. There's a lot of different elements of luck, some strategy, and definitely some figuring out as to who is who. It's going to be interesting if you end up getting assimilated, as they say, and infected later on in the game, because now you're going to have to switch roles. As opposed to being a human player, now you're going to have to try to be an infected player to try to sabotage everybody else. So that's in there. There's a lot of tabletop that goes on in this game as you're trying to make strategies, as you're playing the different cards, which I like the cards too, because you can use them either as weapons or for dice rolls. Smoke, fire, destroyed rooms, consequences as you're moving up the tracker from failed missions. So there's definitely a lot going on in this game. This is a really good game for players that like games that have suspense, games that have a lot of table talk and figuring out and trying to figure out who is what. And also just all these missions that you have to do, the fails, the successes, the sabotages as well. So there's a lot of suspense that goes on in this game, especially near the end when you end up having a captain that has to choose who's going to be in the helicopter, because that's going to determine whether the humans win or the people that are infected win the game. So I think it's a good game. Okay, guys, that's my review of The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31, live from Antarctica. We'll catch you later. Keep on gaming.